Hey, tonight's shave is going to be with the Blackland Dart stainless steel razor that's fairly new. It's kind of aggressive. The blade we're going to put in it is one that often does very well for me in other razors, the Treet Platinum. The blade, the brush we're going to use is this Boar knot from Whip Dog, and this is a shave forge handle, just right for my big hands. Boars do need to be soaked or pre-wetted in some fashion. So I'm going to put it in this little jar. I like the narrow neck on this jar because it keeps the whatever brush I'm soaking fairly vertical. The soap we're going to use is a sample that was sent to me. It does no good for me to show you the little container it came in. Well, except for you to see the color of it. Because it was a container of another soap and not this one. This is Windy City Barbershop by Oleo, and smell is just terrific. It's kind of a mottled purplish brown color, if that's not evident in the video, and it packed down really nicely into this quarter teaspoon measure. I'm going to get actually a little bit more because I think last time I used Shiloh several days ago, and I think I maybe needed just a little bit more than a quarter teaspoon. I'm going to now hook that out of the measuring spoon and press that into the bottom of this melamine bowl that I use for lathering. I'm almost to the point where I really like this shape right here. For a year I've used more of a U-shaped bowl that was about 5.5 inches wide by 2 3/8 inches deep, and it works really well. But when the soap really starts to add up, you start to get it on your fingers sometimes because that U-shape. But the soap that builds up on the wall moves away from you, and I wonder maybe if this is a good way to go. It's almost like a flesh-colored soap, actually. A pinkish hue. Would you say it has a pinkish hue or a rosy glow? I'm already feeling the slickness as I wipe the soap off as I rinse the soap off my fingertips. Very cool, very promising, good stuff. And we're going to get out the Treet Platinum blade. This one's been used once before. And one nice thing about the dart, the little bolt there doesn't protrude very much from the end cap, and so if you had some kind of to-go system where you put the various parts of the razor in like little pockets or something, and it was like a flexible cloth type arrangement. Here we go, putting the blade on the top cap. Now when you kind of squeeze this together so that you're about to screw in the handle, you can get pinched, okay? So this right here, take it away before you squeeze and then come back to it. Attach in the handle. Likewise, clear the flesh from the sides here before you tighten it all the way. I've given you several close-ups of the dart in previous videos on my dart playlist. So check those out if you want further close-ups. Really happy about the Treet Platinum blade. I like it. And I think we are ready to go. Let me rinse my face off a little bit. One day's beard growth. This is fairly soft water, so it makes nice lather. No problems there. It's cool water. And now we're ready to start mixing the lather. Got my bowl, got it at the Dollar Tree, so that's why it's an odd color. Pretty much everything else I have is like black and kind of classic colors like that, darker colors. Just going to move it around a little bit, just with the brush being a dampened state. I slung about all the water out of it that I could. And now I'm going to use my medicine dropper type syringe to add half a teaspoon of water at a time. There are some high notes in here. So far, seems like a nice masculine fragrance. Some of the barbershops out there have very floral, very dominant floral notes that are kind of on the feminine side. I'm glad this doesn't seem to be one of those. Another half teaspoon, and we start mixing slowly until the water has a chance to kind of lock into the lather just a little bit so it doesn't splash out if I start going faster. A couple of things you can do while you're mixing. You can just have a kind of a 90-degree angle hold, thumbs around that way, the middle fingers also in the same kind of groove, and then the pointy fingers kind of going perpendicular to the groove going around the brush. And so that's one way. It's a little on the slower side since you kind of have to move your whole arm to make things happen. But that's all right. Sometimes it's sometimes the shaving process can be a relaxing experience if you put your mind in the right place, if you don't stress out about getting things right, if you take your time and don't get in a hurry. And so this is a great grip for that because it relies on your shoulder muscles, larger muscle groups than just a wrist. And so you can stir up a lather no problem. Now, I would have put water in by now, but I was kind of talking. And so sometimes I will, when I feel a little bit impatient, I'll just kind of look away, take a few breaths, close my eyes and just kind of let myself stir. I'm not trying to optimize the stirring, I'm just stirring, and that helps things. You've got a nice little lather building up. You could, if you wanted to face lather, you can go ahead and start up with that. Now we've got 2 teaspoons of water in the mix here. Another grip to have when mixing is one more like this, where you pivot. The finger here can just pull back, and everything, it's not 90 degrees anymore. And everything else kind of stays in place. And you lift your elbow a little bit, or you can kind of turn your bowl a little bit, and then you can go faster. I don't know if you can go too fast. If you did it super fast, then you might be introducing more air bubbles than you want to into your lather. Might be the only reservation that I could conceive of. Not a whole lot of lather. I'm kind of surprised. And it's not super thick. It's actually being pretty elastic. Look at that. And so I don't really feel like I should add any more water. So let's just pull down all that we have from the walls here to make sure that there's not any kind of lather concentrate up on the walls. Do a little finger test. Good news is we can always, oh yeah, nice and slick. A little bit of cushion. I think that's about where we want to land. Let's just see if we have enough lather to do the job. I'm glad I added that extra to the 1/4 teaspoon. Alright, sometimes you end up with more lather than you think. The razor's ready. I'm going to splash my face one more time. Let's put it on nice. Oh, I got to remember not to shave my chin. The Boar feels good. I think this is the 4th time I've used it, maybe 3rd. No roughness to the knot, so that's good. Holds a reasonable amount of lather to be this young. Get a little bit more out. Oh, this is a nice strong scent. That is so welcome. I like that when good scents are not put in low concentrations. Some of the makers have to do that for allergy purposes and sensitive skin issues on the part of their customers, you know, trying to appeal to a wide audience. Oh, this strength is nice. I like it. Okay. Wet the razor. Treet Platinum inside the dart. And if you recall, I have discovered that a kind of a traditional 30-ish angle is about right for the first pass, but that presses the blade edge a little too much into my skin for the second and future passes. And so with those, I close the the angle of the handle, the hangle. I close the hangle so that it relieves a little bit of the pressure, lifting the blade slightly from digging quite so much into my skin, and that results in a nice, consistent, comfortable shave. So kind of the normal angle, the normal hangle. Ooh, that feels good too. What did I use yesterday that was so smooth? May have been this blade. Hope it wasn't. I didn't want to repeat. The hangle. That's funny. I think it was the Gillette Platinum. So I am getting tremendous smoothness here from the Treet Platinum blade. Now I still need to be careful in my neck area. I was just feeling some roughness because I had not been kind of bringing my skin a little more taut, stretching it, I mean just a little, just kind of so it doesn't move. Not really too much of a stretch, but I had not done that, and I was starting to feel a little bit of the irritation because I forgot my technique for a second. my skin, this is a razor rod. You don't want to forget your technique. It's like a pit bull. This is like a pit bull. As long as you've trained him right, you treat him right, you love him, careful with him. He's wonderful. He's a joy to use. He can really get the job done when he needs to. But if you're irresponsible, then you can bleed. And a rinse. Yep, really nice slickness being rinsed off there. You can tell with your hands as you're doing the rinse. It's just terrific. This is a very good soap base. I personally prefer the soap bases that are nice and slick and you don't have to use as much product. Sometimes those are like the hard soaps. I might run out of lather here. Trying to be a little bit, trying not to put too much on my brush, but I think I'm going to need to put a little bit more. See my stubble growing back on the goatee. That is definitely happening. This face does not, this chin does not need to be shown to the world. There we go. I think I might have enough lather to do a third pass, but it's close. So maybe if you think of the 1/4 teaspoon measure, usually an even amount is plenty to do the job. Looks like maybe this soap base though needs a little extra, quite a bit extra actually. Now it could be this Boar brush. It's young. It could be killing the lather in some way. I'm not familiar with that yet because the Boars I've used have just been really pretty good. All right, let's shave this off. Cross grain now, and I'll keep a closer angle. If you are shaving and you feel like you have the closer angle going on, then, and you're not getting cut, you don't feel like the hairs, you don't hear them getting trimmed, then open the handle angle a little bit more. If it feels a little too aggressive for you, close the angle or reduce the angle. And yes, this is the first time I've stumbled into that. Very nice. Oh yeah, got a little section over here. Very light. Very gentle. So it would seem that this blade so far looks like a really good complement to the razor. The feeling is very good. When you're in control and you take your time, I do not feel at risk to any kind of nick. That says something. Let's rinse this off. Left a little too much water on my face last time. Let's dab that off. And we are going to extract all of the bubbly that we can from this bowl. I don't know whether it was the brush's fault or I just need to use more soap. Here we go. Third pass. We might have enough for the neck only touch up. Yeah, bet we will. Fourth pass, I often do a neck only pass. Yeah, we'll have enough. Just by the hair of our chinny chin chin. This is how much lather I have left, and I bet I'll be able to do the job with that. I do feel some stings, so maybe there's something in this that is irritating my skin a little bit. Maybe I've been a little too careless, so let's be extra careful this time with the angle. And it could be that this blade is just one that not really meant for this razor, for my skin. It's time for me to reiterate all the necessary verbiage that blades are very much your mileage may vary, which basically means it's a subjective thing, and your blade preferences are often not going to be able to be passed on to somebody else. Unless you happen to find somebody that is kind of the same in so many ways as you, that enough of the variables match up so that you can, give them good recommendations. If you find a blade buddy like that, that's a good thing. Oh yeah, got a little nick right there. Probably just wasn't careful. All right, let's rinse this third pass off. And there we go. Let's dab off the neck area so that we can do the neck. Well, let's check to make sure we even need to do the neck only pass. See my heartbeat in my throat. Almost don't need it. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take Old Spice and use it as a gash detector. And I'm going to splash that on my neck. And this will tell me how rough or not rough my shave was. A little bit of stinging here and there. Yeah, it's a good smell. I don't care how old school it is. That's interesting. I usually don't get any tenderness, or irritation right along here. I've just not been watching. Yeah, there was a period where I wasn't really keeping my skin, reasonably immovable. I think that's what caught me. But that'll do, donkey. I think we'll go ahead and stick with that. That's a good shave. If I was going into a more ridiculed or scrutinized was the word I was looking for, environment where people were up close and just wanted to make sure you had a good situation right here, then I would definitely do another neck pass with this and probably be in just great shape. So I'll be interested to try this blade again and just be a little more careful, because this looks like it's a good one. All right, there we go. I'm going to leave this on. Oh, even this guy right here is kind of, he stopped himself, so he wasn't that big at all. I don't think any other oozers or weepers or whatever you want to call them. Nice. All right, I'm going to clean up and I'll be back. How much water do we use in that shave? 2 teaspoons. A full syringe. And that was a little bit more than a 1/4 teaspoon measured out. So that is not really as much of an economical soap. It felt dense as well. If it felt very light, then it kind of equals out if it overflows the 1/4 teaspoon a little bit. Tonight I tried something new. I was at Walmart today, picked up a soap dish. It's just oval. And I thought, you know what, it's just a couple of bucks and I'm going to use it as a brush rest. And it worked great. Pretty small, should be able to stow it easily. And now instead of having to rinse off the sink where my brush was, or having to always take an extra second to gingerly put it down so that I don't get soap on my hands and so it doesn't fall over, I can just let it rest right in the dish. I think I like it. Well, one of the cool things, let's look and see. I always forget that if you're, there actually was not very much lather inside the brush. I mean, this was enough to do this, the neck pass I was talking about, but a lot of times with a badger, something like that, you can squeeze like that and you'll get some crazy, amazing soap come out of there. Oh, because it still kind of holds on to it a little bit. So that's how much water we used, 2 teaspoons, and that's all you need to know for now. So that was a pretty good scent. You could tell there were maybe some musky notes, as well as some clean soap notes and some florals. Were the florals maybe a little too high for me? Maybe, maybe not. Could be, for me, one of those type of scents that helps me to gain a little perspective, expand my horizons a little bit, because there were items in this that I picked up that kept it still in the realm of a masculine type scent. And that, I think it definitely falls within the barbershop genre. So well done. I think it is a scent that they a little powdery in there as well, but it was such a blend of a few things that sometimes it takes a second to pull them out of the blend because they're working together so well. I like the strength of it. That was really good. As to whether I might bring this tub into my den, I don't know, into my pantry. It's maybe still a little heavy on the florals for me. I could see mixing this with an earthy or woody note and just bend it just a little bit more toward that area, just a little bit, and I would really enjoy that mix. So that's a good one. That's a good one. It's well done. It seems to be they took care in the way they thought about it and brought something together that I am not surprised if a lot of people like that. So I was excited to try the Treet Platinum in the razor, and justifiably so. It did really well in this razor. Just 3 passes, not my usual half pass after, and I got an above average shave with that. And I believe I could have matched the Gillette Platinum that I tried yesterday. I believe I could match that closeness if I went ahead and had done that half pass at the end. But and so this is another one that's a very good blade for me, at least. It might be good for you, it might suck for you. That's just the way it goes, right? Buy a sampler, try a bunch of blades. Tryblade.com is a great place to buy blades individually. Some of them are expensive-ish, relatively speaking, and some of them are not. But try a good sample of all of them across the board. And I would probably I would avoid trying any that you couldn't get 100-pack of, just in my opinion, because that's where you're going to get most of your savings. And so that's where I would start. And if you went through all the blades where you could get a reasonable 100-pack of, and you still didn't find anything, well, then start branching out, okay? But there's so many good razor blades out there. I'm confident that you'll be able to find some. You'll look up, and there was one called Cue Ball. It was a Persona blade. It's on tryablade.com. But I don't really recommend you get that one necessarily, unless you just want to try something, because that one's really hard to find, at least if I recall correctly, in the 100-pack. And you're going to be stuck buying the lower quantities and not getting a really good deal on those. And so the Vashkods and the Gillette Silver Blue, the Gillette Platinum, the Astras, the Platinum especially, of course you got Feathers and Kais. Those are kind of more expensive ones. There's just so many good ones out there. Gillette has the 7 o'clock series, the yellow, green, and black. And those have done very well for me. They might do good. They might do well for you. Treet. This Treet Platinum is actually a pretty inexpensive blade. I think it's maybe one of the better values out there because it performs up here, but it costs down here. Last time I looked on Amazon. So there's a little tip for you in terms of hunting blades. Do some searching. You can look at maggardrazors.com, Amazon. West Coast Shaving might have some good deals. Italian Barber, they kind of mess with their reviews a little bit and don't put up the negative ones and that kind of thing. So there's a little stuff going on there, but I've ordered a few times from them, and they sometimes have good deals. And so those are some places to check, at least in America, for your 100-packs. And somebody may have the same 100-pack for $10 more. So it pays to check it out. So here's a funny thing with this scent. With this Windy City Barbershop by Oleo. I liked it at first. But then as the shave went on, it was strong enough to where it had some pieces that kind of wore on me a little bit, became a little on the obnoxious side, and so this is one of the few cases where I've said this is a little too strong for me. It's possible if you were to back this off a little bit, but that's cool because if you found if you were stuck with some of this and didn't want to get rid of it, you could mix it with another soap that was more mild, and it would just probably set it just in the right spot. Maybe one of the woody soaps, like a Straight Shave from Henri and Victoria, or what was it? There was it was a Soap Commander one, and it said cedar was one of the, I think it was like honey, citrus and cedar, something like that. And the only thing I got was the woody note in it, and it was like a kiln dried pine 2x4. So, and those guys right there, I think they are money if you would match them, kind of doing half and half blend with this, if you want to play scientist. So yeah, if I were stuck on a desert island with this soap, it might kind of get on my nose nerves after a while, because it is a little intense, a little too strong on the florals after a while. At first I could appreciate the different elements, but by the end of the shave they were starting to wear on me a little bit. So glad to try it out though. I'm very grateful to have somebody send that to me. It's just, it'd be so close. For me, that might have been a really nice pick. The base just was tremendous. Every time I went to rinse, it was slick. It had a reasonable amount of cushion, so really happy with that base. So I've tried Shiloh in the Oleo base, and then now I've tried Windy City Barbershop, and both of them great performers. So if you look at Oleo soaps and you see a scent you might like, it may not be the most economical because I'm having to use a little bit more than a quarter teaspoon, but you know, if you see a scent that appeals to you, then it's going to be a good performer if you snatch it up. And happy with the platinum blade in this dart. Happy with the dart. This brush continues to work pretty well for me. I'm looking forward to a little bit more splay, and I'm happy with that so far. So there we go. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I hope there was something here that you can walk away with. Something that helped you. Take care. Have a good night.